explain what EMDR stands for and the theory behind that?
Yes, so it's an approach that's actually been around since the late 80s, early 90s in America, but in the last 10 years in particular, it's really taken over as being something that offers really quite transformational change to people's symptomology, starting off with a particularly targeted for post-traumatic stress, but now in a range of areas. So it stands for eye movement, desensitization, reprocessing, which means that we're doing something in a moment with a client where we are literally at one point in the protocol asking them to move their eyes from side to side, literally corner to corner, as fast as they can, whilst holding a traumatic memory in mind, because memories are stored with a number of different component parts to them. There's the picture, the image, there's the emotion attached to it, there's the physicality of it, your heart will still be racing. There are beliefs attached to it, like I thought I was going to die. So yes, this concept of activating the right and left hemisphere of the brain in fast alternating patterns, right, left, right, left, right, left, does something neurologically that we're still really exploring exactly what's happening. There's a number of different theories, but the effect of this, when it's done by a skilled, trained therapist in the right context and the right conditions, enables someone to bring to mind a traumatic experience and not have the residual symptoms that they've held on to, often for years. So you can experience the memory, but it's now effectively classed as a chronological memory and not a trauma memory, meaning you don't have the fear attached to it anymore. You then are enabled to engage in behaviors that previously you wouldn't have been able to engage with. And people report a real sense of calmness, but also the fact that that experience of their lives gets integrated into the narrative of their whole life history. It's something that happened to me, but it doesn't define me anymore in terms of what I'm now able to do. So the past is not relived in the way that trauma is so horrific. And amazingly, if there are physical elements that were causing pain at the time of the injury, they can be relieved in terms of easing of pain symptoms, to the point where someone can be feeling something, experience the eye movements, and then the pain just goes away in that moment as part of the memory. And it's very exciting to see this happen with client after client, but also because you receive the therapy yourself as part of the training, there's a real visceral sense of, I know what it feels like for that to shift. And then when you see that same shift happening, you can see clients' faces and bodies transform as they go through. So at its core, it's miraculous, but of course, nothing's too good to be true. So it needs to be done incredibly carefully, because if we are unable to access the memory because it causes too much distress, or we cut off and dissociate, it can be quite a dangerous experience to go through. So it needs to be thought about and done incredibly carefully, but in the right conditions, it's one of the most transformative therapies I've ever witnessed, really. And I think the opportunities for pain are so exciting, and I'm really starting to get deeper into that with the number of clients. The challenge being, of course, is getting onto the same wavelength about what you're trying to achieve. And because all of us have these ideas about pain being a biological medical experience, and opening up the idea to pain being multifaceted and actually top down